Black Clover has returned, ladies and gentlemen. Asta is on his way to save the entire world, kill Lucius, and become Wizard King. We kick things off with chapter 370, with Asta and Yuno giving the beatdown on Lucius's lousy angels. That being said, it's not enough, as Lucius has activated the next stage of his master plan. The entire Clover Kingdom is suddenly hit with a monstrous earthquake, as the king's castle comes tumbling down.
Oh no! Anyway,
as everyone looks up, they're met with a truly heavenly sight. As Asta states, Ryu saw the future, where Lucius brings forth his perfect undying world using a crazy-ass compound magic spell from the sky. We saw in chapter 344 that Lucius was cooking up this huge tree by merging the magic of his 3 siblings. This is how he plans to create a world where everyone is equal with immortal bodies, whilst he plays the role of being Ultimate Wizard King. Using the Socrates blood, bone, and body magic, Lucius can create a vessel to implant a person's soul using his own magic. So the best, most efficient way to achieve this ideal is by using compound magic, which combines multiple different attributes. Now, this is the opposite end of the Tree of Qliphoth, as the Kabbalah inspired Black Clover. The Qliphoth is the arrangement of evil forces in both Kabbalah and the manga. It is the opposing structure to the Sephiroth, used for the Elves, Apostles, and the Tree of Life monument. However, unlike the Qliphoth, the Sephiroth Tree of Life is a channel of divine creative life energy or consciousness through God, which Lucius claims to be and is being called. Just look at Morris calling him that. Now, despite looking up at their literal death, the citizens and magic knights admit that it's a sight to behold. It's a representation of the false prophet's temptation to lure his followers into evil by portraying himself as an act of heavenly proposition. Nonetheless, there are some who continue to stand firm in their battle with Lucius's many clones. But it's all for nothing if they can't reach his main body, right? Which we saw high above the Clover Kingdom in chapter 361. As a result, 2 people Lucius desperately hopes don't come knocking on his door are Asta and Yuno. As Ryu mentioned, Lucius has seen the future and knows that those 2 are the only people capable of defeating him. Which begs the question of, why didn't Andromeda just kill Asta? If Lucius knew he was such a problem, where Yuno gained a grimoire singularity as mentioned in chapter 336, and Asta was the flaw of the future as he cannot be read, why would he let them train and survive? Is he stupid?
you are made of stupid.
There was no better time to get rid of Asta than in chapter 330. Andremelech literally looked at Asta and ignored him. Well, the only answer to this slight plot hole would be Andremelech, as Tabata is cooking. This devil has a secret plan. Many interpretations of Andremelech view him as a very cunning and evil devil. Klopstock's Demasius poem even accounts for how he exceeds Satan himself when it comes to guile and malice. Klopstock further wrote how Andromeda worked together with Satan to overthrow God, but not to further Satan's kingdom, rather so that Andromeda could take it for himself. He merely used the power of Satan to get what he wanted. This is how Andromeda climbed the devil hierarchy in demonology, which we know Tabata used to write Black Clover. So by essentially being useful to those above him, until he himself was on their level. Once Andromeda reached the standing of Lucifer and Satan, he decided to then try and gain the worship of humanity, where he became the god of the sun. Thus, it would explain why he kept Asta alive against Lucifero and didn't bother fighting Yuno during the time skip after the Spade Kingdom War in chapter 336, as he watched him train, needing them to defeat Lucius. Because, let's be honest, if he tried tried to do it himself, Lucius would just see it coming by witnessing the future, as it was mentioned in chapter 360 that this madman saw through hundreds of thousands of timelines just to gain victory. Therefore, Andromeda has to rely on the Aster effect. Remember, Aster has a special quality revealed in chapter 360, where Lucius was shocked at how people like Yuno defied their destiny. He mentioned that Yuno was only supposed to be as strong as he is in a world where the Spade Kingdom War never happened, but instead, he's reached a level even beyond that. Likewise with Noelle, she was never meant to be this powerful and was set for a life in exile from the Silver family. But Aster being there for her the day she joined the Black Bulls changed everything, literally, because Fuegoleon was another that should have died, as well as all the Magic Knights. But Aster's influence on the world is what helped everybody pull through to create a future Lucius can't read. So once again, with the power of friendship...
You can't say that.
Say what?
The F word.
Fuck.
No, not that one. The other one. You know, friendship.
Why? This is literally happening, as the anti-magic boosted the Black Bulls to appear to save the day.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
We see each of them in their new forms, as remember in chapter 367, Aster bestowed upon them his anti-magic. Following his training of Zeton, Aster can now control this power to the point where it won't affect his friends. Yeah, they can still use it, just like when Aster copied Yami's Dimension Slash, but figured out how to control his anti-magic to the point where it wouldn't cut those he cared for. When Aster first unlocked his black form, it was thanks to the Witch Queen in chapter 97. By using her blood magic to heal him, she messed with his body to allow the anti-magic to flow freely throughout him, which just so happens to be exactly what she said in chapter 367, healing the Black Bulls after using her foresight ability, thus giving them access to this new power. And just to remind you, based on the feats Luck and Magna achieved in chapter 369, we know Aster has buffed the Black Bulls to be 1000 times stronger. How, you may ask? Well, back in chapter 365, Damnatio effortlessly destroyed Magna's Chain Deathmatch before he had the chance to use it properly. This automatically scaled Damnatio's Paladin form way above 100% Lucifero Dante, who was already 502 times stronger than Magna. Whereas now, thanks to the anti-magic buff, he was able to trap Lucius inside. There's also the fact that Luck killed 6 angels as if they were fodder, whereas in chapter 357, Jack had to use his ultimate attack to achieve the same thing. And then guess what? He dies in the process after being killed by Morgan's Paladin. All of this makes for an interesting outcome, with the theme of the story finally coming full circle. The Black Bulls were rejects of society whom had insane potential, and now we are literally witnessing captains being protected by them, watching their backs. However, the drawback to their new power-up is that they can only use up to 1 or 2 big attacks. We see Finral, Sekri, Charmy, and Zora back up Aster so that he and Yuno can go find the real Lucius, while Scorch obviously goes to save his sister Marie, as well as Rill with his anti-magic mirrors. Vanessa and Gray keep a Lucius clone away from Noelle so she can focus on defeating her mother, whilst Gordon uses his Curse Worker's Neighbor spell on Charlotte and William, as it helps those that are cursed to better control its effect. This is where Charlotte says that this isn't the time for them to die yet, which, come on guys, I'm gonna say it, we all know why. She wants Yami's day. So with the help of the anti-magic boost, or as we learn more of Gordon's connection to Megacula, he will cure both of them entirely for a power-up. Charlotte was cursed as a child, which affected her Briar magic, stopping it from being as strong as it could be. Even by chapter 169, even though the curse was broken by Yami, it still affects her roses. William, on the other hand, was cursed from birth due to one placed on his mother's family, resulting in the scar on his face. Meanwhile, a little family reunion takes shape as Nacht and Ichika help out Yami against a Lucius clone and Morgan. Captain Yami still has a devil's heart, and it will activate when his sister Ichika is in trouble, giving him another power-up, paralleling what he did in the past when she lost control due to their father, and Yami Tsukihiro shouldered all the blame of killing the clan. After all, this entire story is revolved around the love and bonds that give people strength. It's literally the translation of Asta's name. However, someone who doesn't need any Black Bull backup is Sisgolion. Chapter 371 continues the fight against Morris. Throughout this battle, Sisgolion has seen her Crimson Lion comrades sacrifice themselves so that she can fight on. They know they're NPCs, they don't even have a name, bruh. So they're like, shit, we need to be written out the story, fam. Let's let the main protagonist do this shit. Okay, I'm tweaking. But anyway, getting back to the point, in all of the futures Lucius saw, Sisgolion is meant to die against Morris, as she wasn't strong enough. But due to the Asta effect, instead, Sisgolion became the only person that could defeat Morris. One of the powers bestowed upon him by Lucius was Operation Dismantle. This ability allows Morris to completely disintegrate anything he touches, which is why Hellfire Incarnate is the perfect counter. She lost her arm, but was able to grow a new one made of pure mana. That's because this spell becomes more and more potent the more she uses it. As the longer Sisgolion spends in the form, the more her body becomes mana itself. Now, as Morris states himself, there's nobody in the world who's as close to pure mana as her. Helped by all the years she spent away from the kingdom and in the wilderness, bask in natural mana. Thus, Sisgolion is totally immune to Morris's Operation Dismantle. Nonetheless, this dude reveals his second magic type, being Earth. He creates an army of living shields, as he calls them, faceless mounds of dirt that vaguely resemble the human body, mindlessly charging into battle purely to protect Morris. But to create a contrast in the story, Sisgolion is able to burn them to shreds. However, they merely regenerate too fast for her. Now, guess what? This is just another reason why she's the perfect counter to Morris. Everything he's ever done can be attributed to science. Those he believed to be lesser than him were merely tools for him to experiment on in an attempt to create new magic. For example, Mars is literally a living embodiment of this, with the crazy amount of abuse Morris caused in chapter 16. Sisgolion, on the other hand, was lonely due to her strength, growing up to the point that even before she got her grimoire, she could defeat the average magic knight. However, because she's a beast incarnate, she strived to get even stronger, which is why she left the kingdom behind in search of nature. That's when she learned that this wasn't the answer. There was a limit to what she could achieve alone. Thus, she returned to train those weaker than her, rather than use them like Morris is. This resulted in not only the Crimson Lions growing in strength by pushing themselves past their limit, but it worked for Sisgolion as well, all culminating in her brand new spell. Ultimate Flame Magic. Wait, how do you pronounce this? Oh my god. Exelius Leonum. Did I say that right? Shit. Ultimate Flame Magic. Exelius Leonum. Bro, if I just heard that in a fight, I am running, bro. What the did you say? What did you say your spell was? Exelius Leonum. I can't even pronounce that shit, fam. I'm dead. But before this happens, that's when Fugelion reappears, trying to beat his allegations that he's useless. Failure. The man still doesn't have Spirit Dive and put the tiniest bit of respect back on his name by defeating some NPC angel. But he's back to engage in fraudulent activities, as even his own sister tells him that she doesn't want to fight alongside him. Fortunately, Siskolion's new spell gave her an army of her own. It literally raises the dead. This continues the theme of her being the counter to Morris. His earth magic made a soulless army to protect him, while Siscolion has brought back the literal souls of those that loved her back to life to help. Now you may ask, how is this even possible though? Even Morris is confused. Well, like we said, Siscolion spent her entire life surrounded by natural mana, to the point her body is as close to being exactly that as humanly possible. She's also a master of mana zone. This has all culminated in her being one with it, to the point she can manipulate mana to her will. And because the soul and life force also contain it, she would be able to retrieve the soul of those who have recently passed, manipulating it to give them a body made of pure mana to fight with. Thus, she gives them their orders to follow her to the depths. I can't help but laugh because imagine sacrificing yourself, being revived, only to be told that you gotta sacrifice yourself all over again.
This is bullshit.
Now you may be wondering, okay, ABD, this is a bit too OP. She gained intangibility, resurrection of humans, right? 1,000 times power up. What is the cost of this? Well, I'm gonna tell you, bitch. The cost of this power up is, of course, Sisgolion will die. Okay, I made that shit up because this is Black Clover. Nobody dies in the show. Okay, but the drawback of Hellfire Incarnate is pushing your body to the point where it becomes pure mana, and thus you physically cease to exist. And that's exactly what has happened. Nonetheless, it's more masterful writing by Tabata. In chapter 358, Fugelion pointed out how Morris was nearing his limit, which his sister noted. The difference is when Morris hits his limit, he loses, whilst if Sisgolion can accept the risk attached to it by pushing her limits, she grows even stronger thanks to the nature of the Hellfire Incarnate spell. Tabata is telling us that a limit isn't there to stop you, but rather to help you reach a level beyond what you thought you were capable of, and that all you need to do is cross that boundary and believe in yourself. Believe it! So because of this, Morris is beyond bamboozled, as the realm of the dead should only be accessible to the followers of Lucius. He continues to yap on about how he was chosen by Kami-sama. But let's be real, if that isn't proof enough that Lucius is a false prophet, I don't know what is. Because no real Kami would bless a bum like him. Luckily, Sisgolion gives Morris true enlightenment, as she states he always wanted to contribute towards human evolution, which she has now achieved by pushing her limits beyond mana, killing Morris. But is he really dead? This is Morris after all, but I do hope so. That being said, we never got to learn what his devil's name was, by the way. So yeah, sorry guys, Morris might return, as Asta and Yuno are going to fight the real Lucius. Now to enjoy more peak fiction, watch this video about Kafka and his kaiju number 8. Why did it choose him specifically, and how strong is he?